Hey y'all, welcome to the Healing Space Live and Online Chats with Roxanne and Rhonda, the podcast where guests will share information and research on self-love, living a wellness-filled life, how to heal from traumatic events, and more. This podcast is sponsored by Healing Hearts and Minds Publishing, LLC, a new company that publishes books that promote self-love, healthy relationships, avoidance of unhealthy relationships, and much, much more. Check out their first publication, Unhealthy Relationships, Let's Stop the Madness, a guide for those in unhealthy relationships and for those who want to help them. Written by first-time author and co-host of the Healing Space Live and Online, Roxanne Elizabeth Epperson. Visit Amazon.com to purchase the paperback or ebook. Enjoy the show. Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of the Healing Space Live and Online Chats with Roxanne and Rhonda. On this episode, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to talk to generations of two mothers and daughters and an aunt and a niece. And we're just going to have some general chit chat about relationships and Rhonda and I were interested to see or hear the younger perspectives, and of course we'll chime in with our stuff. So so right now I'd like to introduce our guests, although they're family, we're still calling them guests, and we'll have the daughters and the nieces tell us who they are connected with. Well, one is real obvious, but Cassie, who are you here with?
Hello, my name is Cassie Howard, and I am connected to Ebony Hughes, who is my mother.
Ebony Hughes. And Miss Sonia?
I'm Sonia Dallas, the niece of Roxanne Epperson.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rhonda. I'm Rhonda's daughter.
Just a little, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rhonda.
We're used to it by now. We always can tell which Rhonda people we're talking to. They say when they're talking to her, it comes across with a little softer tone like Rhonda. And when they want me, it's like Rhonda. So we're used to which Rhonda people are usually referring to.
Now, if I not mess up, because it is what it is, I call Rhonda Junior, since she's named after her mother. So I've always called her Junior. So if I have to ask her a question, I might say that. I don't know. And just a little background, Ebony and I work together at Magee Women's Hospital of UPMC, and we've done domestic violence workshops throughout the community and in schools and community centers and elderly people. We've done it all. So that's who we are. And I think we can kind of begin with our questioning now.
All right. This is going to be fun. So we're glad everyone has joined us. Whether you are joining us as this is being aired for the first time, or whether you're catching us on one of the archives, we are glad that you are here with us and that you're taking time out. As always, we give a special shout out to those who follow us. We are so excited that you listen to us weekly. Don't forget to like us. And Roxanne will give us more information about where you can like us at the very closing of the show. But we're on YouTube. We're on Apple Podcast and Spotify, and somebody blew us away, yesterday, Roxanne, and told us we're on Audible. I
don't even know how that happened, because you have to subscribe to these things. But we're there, so hey.
So we're glad you're listening in. Hey, you want to take the first question, Roxanne?
Yeah. It's funny, when I looked at this question, the first question is describe a romantic relationship. And I'll start because, first of all, I haven't had one of those in so long. But I do recall one that I had that I thought was very nice. And we went to a play. And the goal was, after the play, we were just going to go for a walk in Highland Park. And for those of you in Pittsburgh, you're familiar. The play was at the Kelly Strayhorn Theater in East Liberty. Again, those who know, it was just a nice, lovely evening. And I recall, and this was the first date, by the way. At the end of the play, we were in the lobby, and this these people walked up to us that knew him and said, well, you guys are such a lovely couple. And I was cracking up on my inside because this was the first date, right? So we didn't go for the walk because we realized we didn't have on the right shoes for walking. So we went back to his home. We went back to his home and watched a movie. And it was just a lovely evening. So that was a nice romantic evening for me. Haven't had one since. That was in 2015.
You know, Roxanne, it's funny because as I review our questions and the direction of the conversation for today, I certainly didn't think about it had to be a date I went on. I thought I could just describe what I consider a romantic date, but I think it's good if you could add some live experience and say you actually had it. So
yeah, because I haven't even thought about what that would be. So that's why I said, well, I'll just give an example of one I had. Okay.
So I love to talk. I guess that's obviously a reason I'm doing a co-host as a part of a podcast. But I think a very romantic date starts out with really good conversation, you know, where you're really being able to share with one another. Particularly, and well, not particularly, because for me, it doesn't matter if this is a first date or if this is a couple who've been together 3, 4, 5 years. I think a romantic date, a romantic time together is when we can really connect and just feel our spirit to spirit through conversation. But the funny thing is, I also think the flip side. I also think a romantic date is when we're sitting in silence, but still spirit to spirit. We kind of just know that we're okay. You know, we're not sitting in silence because we're angry and not talking to each other, but we're just enjoying the moment. One person might be reading, the other person might be, I don't know, I'm going to sound real old when I say crocheting, but they may be doing something. You know.
We get the point.
Right. They may be doing something just pleasing them, you know, and then, and you may have some cuddling after that, even without any words in between. So I think that for me, the connection part is what makes it a romantic date.
And can I just add to that real quick for that first date I had? This was somebody I had known for many, many years. So the friendship was there and there was no intimacy that night. So that to me made it even more special. Okay, go ahead.
Cassie, how about you answering that question?
Oh, a romantic date. I guess I can think of, I have to be honest and say I haven't had many romantic dates, but one that I can remember was going out to dinner. This was our first date, and we went out to dinner on the water in City Island in Bronx, New York. And we just sat there. We had a lovely dinner. It was great conversation. We laughed. We were there for hours just talking and laughing and getting to know each other. Then we went and walked on the pier and laughed some more. I had so much fun on that date that I always remember that one as one of the best dates I've ever had.
Wow, thanks. I like that idea. Dinner on the water. Yeah. I'm going to put my daughter on the spot next. How about you go next?
So, like you said, the connection really makes a difference for me. I like to date and I like to do a range of things. A date to me can be simple, just sitting together.
I can't hear you. I don't know what happened.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, did you sound a little, for some reason you don't sound as clear as Rhonda, but we can, go ahead.
Is this better? I'll use my trainer voice.
Yes.
Not my casual conversation voice.
There we go. Get casual, girl.
What I was saying is, like my mother, the connection, I didn't even know this until just now, but the connection is really important to me. I think that is kind of what spurs the romance for me, the conversation, like Cassie said, and how she said it was like for hours. I think that's how I really realized that, yeah, this is pretty good. This was kind of romantic. It's just the connection, the flowing conversation where you can talk about a range of things. And it's like you don't even realize how long the time is passing. That is some of the romantic dates that I recall. I can say they all had that element to them.
All right. Thank you.
Well, I've been sitting here trying to pound my brain, and unfortunately, I have not had a romantic date, but I definitely agree with both the Rondas that the communication is the connection. And if you could catch me up here, I always say, and then here, that's a good start.
Yes. Great. All right. Great.
Miss Ebony? Well, you're on mute. You're on mute. Maybe if
Sorry.
you,
Well, I think that I'm online with Kessie about humor. I love humor and interaction. It kind of relaxes everybody. I think a romantic date would be someplace that we both share, we enjoy. Like a good meal is great, or a museum, or a movie, or a park, or something. But sharing an experience that we both enjoy, and of course, communication. Being able to talk in a comfortable way is really important. So I agree. Communication, the setting is a shared place that we both like. And I like the touch of humor. I like to be able to laugh with the person that I'm with.
I bet Ebony would probably prefer somebody who likes jazz too. That probably would be a high priority.
Definitely who likes music or art or something. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I've had the pleasure of going to a jazz concert with Ebony.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we did.
So let's move on. So
Wait a minute, did we ever Roxanne? I guess so.
Yeah. She started.
Yeah, I started it off. Remember the first date?
That's right.
So the next question is similar, but it might be the same for somebody, because the next question is describe a fun date. I'd like to go first on that because I've not had this experience like you say, but it comes from a movie, y'all. I love rom-com. I gotta go there. I love romance movies. It comes from one of my favorites, and it was Hitch. So played with Will Smith is in it, and one of their dates was actually they went with another couple and they went to like a cooking demonstration. That's funny in the movie. He was allergic and broke out, and that got really crazy. But I think like doing something fun, like doing a cooking demonstration, doing something really active. They also went on a ski boat. Jet skis? Thank you. I knew I had help beside me. They went on jet skis out the Hudson River. I wouldn't do that because I can't swim, but I think things like that are fun. Something outside the house or just something really different to me has that fun element. And just how we let all our guests know, we have a lot of questions. You don't have to feel obligated to answer every question, but we will, give you the chance to, but you don't have to feel obligated to answer all of the questions. But let's just do like, who wants to jump in with the fun date? Anybody have something in mind?
Well, I have. That's a shame. We're behind times, boy. I haven't had a lot of those either. One that I do remember, and it was the guy that I thought was going to be my husband. We went to a restaurant that's no longer here in Pittsburgh, but it was so much fun. Remember, it was called the Hukilau, and you dressed up, and it was a Hawaiian restaurant. You guys, you don't remember that in North Hills? Mm-mm. And I have a picture of us or him. Is him on stage or whatever with the what's it called, a hula skirt or whatever it is? I don't know. So that was fun. That was silly. But today,
That's different.
Yeah, it was different. It was different. Now you're gonna have me dig that picture out because that was funny. I think I would remember howling. And it was so long ago. It was on a Polaroid. Okay.
It's Cassie and Rhonda. A Polaroid was a camera.
The old-fashioned camera, yeah.
Yeah, instant photography. Blew on it and all that.
One time, she found one.
Rhonda and I are not that young. I think both of us know what a Polaroid is. And Sonny, I don't know how old
My
you are.
grandmother got me my first one at 16. Remember
Yeah.
I think Sonny's like 2 years younger than you.
Oh, well, see, there you go.
I know what it is.
Okay.
I stand corrected. Everybody knows what a Polaroid. She found one at work one time, and we used to work at the same organization, and she found one, and they had film in it. She went around. She was excited, sitting around taking pictures of everybody in the office.
Well, because, everybody here knows, but maybe someone in our audience don't, so now you all know what a Polaroid is. But I don't know. I haven't thought about dating in so long. I can't imagine what I might want today. But I know a calming, fun. I don't know if it's so much fun, but a relaxing to me is a blanket at the park, and I'm reading, and he's listening. Like you said, we're silent and listening. You're chatting, you're eating, then you're silent or whatever. To me, that would be fun.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Inexpensive. Nobody has to spend a lot of money. Just chilling,
Yeah.
Maybe take a fishing pole or something. Nah.
Ooh.
Can I go?
Yep.
What's fun? I like starting out, just together, like doing something simple. But then what makes it fun to me is being able to go and meet a group of friends. And so we're able to, enjoy each other's company, but at the same time be able to share that love and socialize with other people. That's what makes it fun to me, because we're able to share conversations. We don't always have to be up under each other. We're still there enjoying each other's company, and then we can come back and laugh about whatever took place, that day or that evening. That's always fun to me, being able to get together, go do something, possibly eat or, go to a comedy club or something, but then meeting up with loved ones, friends, and, ending that day with that.
Sounds like fun to me.
Cassie, that's so important because, for those who listen to us regularly, and for anyone new, one of the purposes of the Healing Space Live and Online is to always be able to talk about relationships and healthy relationships. Roxanne has a very big compassion, a deep compassion toward getting the message out that there is such thing as a healthy relationship. And that's what I heard you describe right now, because if we're at an event or party or cookout or whatever, we don't have to be up under each other all the time, and we're still enjoying it. And nobody gets mad because he's over there talking or she's over here laughing or playing cards. Or it's just we had a good time together, but not right up under each other. I think that's so important because it does start a description of a healthy relationship too. And I'm just saying that those are things to look for, particularly when it's a beginning relationship, beginning stages. Can you go out and be around friends? Is your partner okay with that? Or does your partner show signs of jealousy? Are they watching you and eyeing you up the whole time on the date? And do they all of a sudden say, you ready to go? And they're like, well, we just got here half an hour ago. We thought we were having fun. So those are good clues. I really appreciate you bringing that to the table. Thanks, Cassie. Sonny, you want to weigh in on the fun date?
Well, fun for me would just be, anywhere where I could be myself and be myself. I love fireworks. I love parks. I love to laugh. So anywhere that we can interact and I can just feel comfortable enough to just be me. Because I'm a kid. I'm a 42-year-old child. I've been serious enough, and I just want to have fun. So anybody that I feel comfortable enough that's going to allow me to be me, all kind of fun to be had.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, it's interesting everyone is talking about being outside, because I think of a fun date, which was centuries ago. I think of a hiking trip I took with someone I was dating, and we had so much fun. We got lost. And yeah, we had to find our way out the woods and so forth. But we did it together. We laughed, and it was a beautiful day. And you know, the benefits of being out in nature and everything, and just sitting on a rock and communicating, and really, you know, being in the woods like that. It wasn't with a group, it was just the two of us, but we were kind of communing with each other and with nature, and I loved it.
Right.
Even though we got lost and it scared the shit out of me, but we did find our way out. We did find our way out.
Richard said she can't cuss, Cassie. Yes, she can.
Oh, sorry. Oh, it scared me.
She thought this was a private meeting amongst her girlfriends.
No, it's okay because it's called Straight Talk. It's called Straight Talk Generations Together. So if shit's part of her straight talking, then oh well. So, did we hear from Wanda Jr.?
No, and you know, a lot of people I think feel like fun days are having to be outside, and I am not an outside person. Actually, if someone, when I'm getting to know them, they say they like to do outdoor stuff, it kind of turns me off because I'm like, how are we going to connect? Because I believe in compromise and getting to know someone. But the hiking, like Miss Ebony said, I've never went hiking. I've never been camping. I've never been fishing. Anything you can think about doing, I probably have not done it. So I think I think that's the idea for most people of a fun date. But for me, I really enjoy what Sonny said, like fireworks bring out the kids in me, kidding me. I actually just went to fireworks last weekend, and it was kind of cold. We were on the water. It wasn't a date. We were in the water. We had been there. We thought the fireworks were at one time, and they were later. So I was a little annoyed. But when the fireworks started, it really just lifted my spirit. So that's one of the things that bring out the kid in me. So I can do things like that's outdoors for me. So that's
It is.
That's good.
Yeah.
So you know that's as outdoorsy as it would get for fun. But I really enjoy concerts. Concerts are fun to me. I don't. My mom and I used to have a joke. We used to call fun the F word for me. It was like a bad word because I don't like. I enjoy myself. I'm not like a downer, but things that people expect when you have fun, I'm like, okay, it was cool. I don't really use the F word. As I've gotten older, though, I do use it more. We don't really call it the F word anymore. So it's funny for me because the fun F word is like, I don't know. But I do enjoy like going to concerts and, like I said, fireworks. But if someone said, let's have fun on a day and ask me to plan it, I would ask them, what do they do for fun? Because I don't think I'd be able to do it on my own.
That's honest.
That's also a good segue into the next question. The next question is, well, what are your standards for choosing a partner? Rhonda just mentioned that compromise is something that you would look for in a relationship. So standards, and everybody has a different word for that, qualities, characteristics, traits, anything like that. But what are you kind of looking for when you're choosing a partner? Anybody have any ready, like 1, 2, 3? I used to have a list.
I never had a list. I actually don't like that idea because you're never going to find your list.
I know.
What you saying? You're muffling. You're fading out a little bit again. What did you say?
I've never had a list, and I kind of don't like that idea. And it's fun because I make lists for everything as far as like things I need to do today. Things that, like when I was packing to come visit my mom last night, I had a list of what I needed to bring. I'm a list person, but not when it comes to relationships. Of course, I have qualities and characteristics. I'm glad you said that because this is just for me. I know standards is common when we think about relationships, but even before I started to really get into dating, people would tell me I had this high standards. It came off like it was a bad thing, like you have too high standards. So I think that's why I kind of shy away from that word. I think more about qualities and characteristics of a person and things that I would want from a partner versus my standards. And that's just for me. I know like standards is common, like I said. They have changed as I've gotten. I mean, I think that's just normal with age. I'm not going to want the same thing at 14 or 15 when you start dating and going to the movies with somebody. Just want to make sure you get there because, you know, my first date, he had a car, but I thought, like, we might be on the bus. Like, I don't know if I'm going to catch the bus to the movies on my first date versus dating now. And different things, as you evolve and you grow, they do change. So But I'm more about the characteristics and the qualities of a person, and can I see us meshing together and compromising and growing together, and how it would fit if it would be something long term.
Thank you.
Cassie?
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think I'm gonna tag on a little bit to what Rhonda just said, because I probably, or I don't know how to answer this question. Ask the question again.
So, do you have standards? What are your standards? And you can change the word standards to characteristics, qualities, traits, something specific you're looking for when you're choosing a partner. And is it different for, the second part is it different for just a casual date versus somebody you're looking at for a long-term relationship?
Okay, so I'm gonna answer the second one first. Yes, it's different.
Okay.
If I'm looking for a long-term relationship or if it's just casual dating. Casual dating, I'm just looking for someone that I can have fun with, someone that can make me laugh, entertain me in some type of way, because it's short-term and it's already made in my head that it's going to be short-term, so I need to get the best of it while it lasts. Sorry, Mom. But as far as, long term, I'm definitely looking for someone. They have to have drive. They have to have some drive. They have to have confidence. Because I know that if they don't have the self-confidence and the self-esteem, we're not going to mesh, because I'm going to rock their boat in a way that's not going to work for the relationship anyway. And I've learned that from experience. And so that is something, like as Rhonda said, that I've had to make sure that I'm more aware of someone's confidence and self-esteem going into a relationship, versus before I didn't even think that was, a big thing. So they definitely have to have those two things, and they have to be flexible. I like someone who knows how to be flexible and has an open mind and knows how to persevere. Those are and I know those kind of sound like business terms, I know, right? But I think that, life throws you so many ups and downs, and, life is just so crazy that if you don't have someone by your side who can persevere and get through it with you and help you get through it when that time comes, then in my opinion, they're more dead weight than a value.
Cassie, you made me think of a couple things. One thing, when you said, I know these sound like business terms. Well, relationships are kind of like a business, like a couple people nodding their head. It's really like a business. Sometimes we need a contract. let's sign the contract. I will do this. I will not do that. So,
and let me just add to that. Rhonda and I was at a 2-day conference yesterday, and the last speaker was talking on leadership, and she said we are the CEO of our lives. So yes, those business terms do apply, because we're taking care of ourselves, and those are the aspects of a person's character that we need. And if they can't produce those, then we have to give them, what's that letter called? It's not other than termination letter. It used to be called something else, but yeah, they got to go.
Pink slip. They got the pink
slip. Yeah, there you go. They got to go. You didn't fit. You had 90 days. Your probation period is up.
It's
over. Okay.
Well, I totally
like that
agree with Kesha.
Say it again, honey.
I totally agree with Kesha. It's like she's spitting out the words that I'm thinking, and it's like, I want someone who has drive. Now, I'm not going to say you will have the same amount of drive as me, because you're not me. But whatever it is that you're doing, have drive for that. See it through. And it's like, bounce off of me and I'll bounce off of you. You know, as long as we can pick each other up, then that leaves the balance. But you definitely got to have all these things.
You know, every podcast, I'm sorry, Roxanne, did you want to jump in?
No.
Every podcast we do, we have questions. We usually send them to our guests. And sometimes we haven't. When I interviewed Roxanne, I didn't give her the questions in advance. She said, wait a minute, you give all the other guests, or we give all the other guests the questions, but you're not going to give them to me. I'm like, no, I'm just going to ask you questions because I don't want you to know what I'm going to ask you. So, but in the meantime, we usually go off script, and you all's comments are really making me think of something right now. You often hear, or I have often heard, I would imagine you all have too, particularly amongst our African community, it's often said that there's the strong Black woman image. And that's why she can't get a man. And that's how I usually hear it. So if it is someone who's in a same-sex relationship, I don't hear that's why she can't get a woman. So I'm speaking about my experience. And in my experience, I always hear, that's why she can't get a man, or that's why she can't keep a man, because she thinks this or that. What are your all's thoughts? What are your thoughts about the statement, well, she's a strong Black woman, you know, she has that image, you know, because I agree with Sonny and Cassie, Rhonda, everybody is saying, you know, do we connect? Can we have fun together?
I think for those who think that, I mean, that's small-mindedness, because if you want a strong Black woman and then you get one and it's like, well, you're too much. That's not a me thing at that point. That's a you thing.
Wow.
I'm saying I'm going to be who I am, and it's just you're threatened by that, whomever, man or woman. So it's like you want the strong Black woman. You don't want everything to come along with it. You got to take everything along. You can't. Well, I want this in the Black woman, and I want that, but this is a little bit too much. No, you got to take it all, and sometimes that leaves you single because everybody can't handle what you bring to the table. And I know that's probably been an issue for me. Like, and I'm 42 years old, and I'm just now learning and knowing what I want and what I'm going to tolerate. And I'm kind of in a position now that it's like, I know what I want. And if you can't handle that at this point, it is what it is. Because I'm going to have what I want because I deserve it. I deserve it. So there's the strong Black woman. You either take it or you don't.
Wow.
I like that.
Go ahead, Rhonda.
No, I like that. You can't pick and choose. You know, it's the whole agenda. Not a little bit of this, but not too much of that. Yeah, it is who I am. I like that. I'm sorry, Roxanne, you were getting ready to say
No, I was trying to go back in my memory bank because I was told by a man that I wasn't marriage material because of that. And I don't remember. I was trying to see if I could remember my comeback or the questioning or why he would say something like that, you know, because of who I am. And I did have a gentleman tell me one time that and I was in school at the time, I was in college, and he said he couldn't stand Black women who thought they were so smart and they was going to school. And I'm like, no, this is somebody I'm dating. I'm like, well, I'm about to get smarter. So that was into that. Actually, in Rhonda, we were talking about another series. We were talking about men crying. That was the one that was crying, but we won't elaborate on that right now. That's a whole nother story. So he had to go for a couple reasons. He didn't like smart Black women, and he was a crybaby. And that's a whole nother story. But anyway. I digress.
If you listen to the interview of Roxanne, it was Straight Talk Part 1.
Part 1, yeah.
Part 1. Straight Talk Part 1. So if you look in the archives of the podcast, you'll see Straight Talk Part 1, and you'll learn more about that crybaby comment that Roxanne just made. All right. Anybody else want to chime in, or we can move on? Or anybody else want to chime in on which I like the marriageable kind of question that do you have? I learned that word a long time ago. The guy who I was dating, but this is a long time ago, and he used to say, "Well, are you looking for marriageability?" And I never heard that term, you know, but That's funny because they also say some women take you down the altar. On the first date, they're already picturing you down the altar. A friend of mine his wife passed away, and I really kind of consider him more like a brother-in-law. But I mean, we were good friends. But his wife, she was one of my best friends. And he went on a date, and on the first date, within the first 45 minutes, she said to him, "So, could you see us being married one day?" I said,
Run.
that's what I said, run, get away.
Wow.
Yeah.
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 So the question is, are we looking for marriageability?
Do you look for that? Yeah.
Nope. Here's my thing on that right now. I'm doing me right now. I'm growing my business, and it takes up a lot of time. And I would be on somebody's last nerve right now talking about, I can't because I got to get this business plan done, or I can't because I'm working on my website and I'm doing X, Y, and Z, and I got a webinar to go to. But eventually, if later on, but marriage, I don't know. That's up to God. I'm just leaving that up to Him. I'm not saying no for real. I'm just saying it's not in my immediate plans. But if I'm blessed with the mate who can deal with all my crazy, like Sonny was saying, all my stuff, he probably has to be an entrepreneur as well, because otherwise it's not going to work. I don't think. But anyway. I guess that's a yes and a no, looking for marriageable.
Well, I'll say that I look for, very early on, I take a snapshot view and I say, is this something that I can do long term, or is this just temporary? So I am looking for long term potential. And I make a decision quickly whether or not it's long-term potential or not.
Yeah.
Can you what's maybe one or two things that you determine whether it's possibly long-term?
I look for just compatibility. I look for, and I think it's part of that answer probably lies in some of the questions we answered earlier in the session. But I think that, I'm looking for personality. I'm looking to see if they have drive. I'm looking to see if they have the self-esteem. If they have some of those things, and that to me is someone who has long-term potential. Because I think that we have an opportunity and a chance to make it. If they don't, and it's more of just, someone who I enjoy hanging out with, having conversation outside of my home, then that's just what it is. It's just, I see you when I see you. That has no long-term potential. That's more keeping someone at bay versus allowing them in.
Yeah, I guess you can tell that on the first date or very, very early on. Yeah, you can. Because I
actually think one of the mistakes is that people try to make a situation into something that it's not, right? And so they're not allowing the truth to be right in front of them. So you're trying to make them be someone that they're not. You know that person is not right for you. And it can be the flip side. Someone may know that I am not right for them, but you're continuing to try to force, you to fit this peg in here, and it doesn't work. And so you're you're wasting your time, and you're setting yourself up for disappointment and frustration and unnecessary stress when you can just be honest with yourself in the beginning and enjoy whatever that moment is. Use that as an experience and then just keep going.
Some people, male and female, just do not want to be alone. Mm-hmm. So I think that's why they accept some of this unhealthy behavior or whatever, But
I haven't heard anyone mention, but I think real important to me is if I'm dating someone or, looking for is if they respect me as a person, my ideas, my dreams, my family, they're not belittling anything I say or minimizing me in any way. I think respecting me and who I am and, in my world is really, really, really important to me. And also not only just respect, but it may sound hard to live, but I want to see someone with integrity. You can kind of pick those things up quickly, with a date or two, because you'll have experiences that will show the kind of integrity they have and the kind of respect they have for themselves, for me, for the world around them, and so forth. So that integrity and respect is really important to me, and it can be red flags if they don't exist.
That's funny she said that. Can I share a red flag that I missed and I talk about all the time? The person who almost took my life, he did not like his mother. Now, if that wasn't a red flag, you don't like your mother. So what? And then he referred to every woman in Pittsburgh as a stupid bee. So he didn't like women. He didn't like women. Period. That was a glaring, glowing, gigantic red flag. So yeah. Right. And I can't remember when I found that out how long into the relationship I was. But today, I bet you somebody said that to me on the first date. Thank you. I had such a lovely time. I would never even answer the phone again.
Of course, you say that. He said he didn't like his mother. But I think, to be honest, you don't know what kind of mother she was.
I know why he didn't like his mother. He told me.
Oh, I mean, but some people, they have some mothers that are not likable.
He didn't like his mother. Yeah, that's true. And I can understand that's true. But he didn't like his mother because she had 5 kids by 5 different men. Mm-hmm. So he just disrespected her.
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah, the other point that you made was he referred to all women. Whatever it was, when he made that generalization, something generalizations like that. Yeah, that negates, that takes away what you just said, Ebony. Show respect. Well, okay, there's no respect right there. So
right.
I think that's
right for whole sex.
Yeah, I think looking for patterns is what's really important when you're looking like, is this a marriageable situation or not?
What did you say, Rhonda? I'm sorry. You said when you're looking for what? You broke up a little bit.
Patterns. When you're looking looking at a relationship and you're looking at patterns, like I don't like my mother. All women are a bitch. I don't like men who do this, men who dance or probably gay, and I mean, all kinds of that. You start hearing these patterns. That's when, because I agree with Ebony, some people have unlikable family members, including their own mama. That depends. If there's something they've worked through, something they talk about is different than, I don't like her because of that, and then I'm stuck, that's it, it's over. So,
you're right.
Let's go on to the next one. It's so funny because I happened to be awake one night this week, and you have to help me with this. The show. There's a show called The Real, and there's a show called The Talk. Which one has Cheryl Underwood? This is the one I'm talking about. The Talk. Okay. So thank you all. I happened to be listening to The Talk this week, and I knew we were doing this podcast, and we had to come up with questions. So they asked this question early on, and it just made me laugh at their answer. Their answer, I'm going to tell you the whole thing they said. Here's our question, and I'm going to tell you what they said. Have you ever done something or some series of things in a relationship to get your partner to leave you? On The Talk, the question was, have you ever wished your partner would cheat on you so you could leave?
Having a good excuse to leave, huh?
So it really begs the question of breaking up respectfully. Do you know how to do that? And I did that once. I really did. I ignored, and this is before cell phones and texting, but I was ignoring. I wasn't calling him back like I usually called him back, and we things he wanted to do. All of a sudden, I didn't want to do them, and I was pulling away, but I refused to break up with him. And eventually he broke up with me, and I was so happy that I was ready for the relationship to end. But I didn't know how to respectfully end it because he is really a nice guy. So I would just like kind of start ignoring him and doing other things. And finally he got the hint and he left me. So, you know what's funny? I still cried after we broke up.
She's silly.
Hilarious. So
Yeah.
have you ever wished a guy would cheat on you to give you enough reason to leave?
I don't think I've had that experience.
Me either. Yeah. I can't even remember how some of the breakups happened. Well, the one that cheated on me and made 2 babies with the same woman, that was an easy breakup. Yeah, I forgave you after the first one, and which I shouldn't have when I look back. I forgave you for the first one. Then you turn around and she got a second baby. I'm like, for real? That one was real easy to break up. But I don't know. I never thought about that.
Have you ever done anything to get a guy to leave you?
Not intentionally, no.
That's different.
I don't think I've ever done something like that, like, you know, wanted them to cheat on me or something like that to leave, but I've wanted them to leave. I wanted to get out of a relationship, and I was trying to strategize on how I was going to do this, you know, like how am I going to end this relationship so that I keep myself safe, so that I don't have the wrong outcome and it becomes confrontational, you know, how am I going to do that? So I'm sure we've all been in relationships where we wanted it to end and didn't know, but you just said it, and didn't know how to end it.
Yeah.
And so me and my strategizing brain has always been strategizing on, you know, that adds to it. Okay, what do I need to do? What are the steps I got to do? How am I going to do this to get out of this relationship and it just be, you know, it works for both of us and we have no hard feelings.
You know what that reminds me of, Rhonda?
What's that?
Leaving an abusive relationship and planning to leave.
Yeah.
You do have to have a strategy. You do have to have a plan. And if anybody's listening to us who's in an abusive relationship, go to our website, WAAR Heals, HEALS, WAARHEALS.org, and click on the resources tab, and there's a tab for safety planning. Just a little FYI.
Yeah, that's good. Because, and Cassie, what it made me think of is breaking up in public. Unlike, that's separate from what Roxanne just described. Because, like she said, if it's an abusive relationship, you need a whole plan. But if it's an unhealthy relationship or one you just, you know, you're not sure how the person's going to react when you break up, it's really strongly suggested that you do it in person. So I just took a quick glance at the time. We tried to say close to an hour. We usually go over a little bit, but there's a few things that I want to make sure that we do get a chance to talk about, right? So if we could kind of give one-word answers for this, like this is the bottom line right here. What is your deal breakers, or what are your, I'm going to make it a singular question. What is your deal breaker in a relationship? That's it. This is it. That happens. That one happened twice. What is your deal? Go ahead, Sonny. You look ready.
Because it's never changed. If you put your hands on me, that is the deal breaker. We're not talking about it. I don't care how much you cry about it. I don't care how much you claim you love me. If you put your hands on me, that is it.
Okay, thank you. We all kind of agree with that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not kind of.
That's to be
Not
number
kind
one.
of. We do agree. Okay.
It's got to be number one.
Correct me. Not kind of. We agree. If we can come up with different answers, we agree with that one. Mine would be if you steal from me. That's a deal breaker.
Yeah.
I'm very giving.
Yeah, because I don't trust you. I have to trust you.
You stole from me. I'm done. I am done. There's no, but I was going to give it back. I'm like, oh, it's over. No, you're gone.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just, I watched somebody, I left my purse in this individual's car when I ran into a building. And for some reason, the way I was positioned, I was able to see. He was fumbling around in my purse. So again, that was the end of that.
So I agree with you, Rhonda. Yeah.
Deal breaker.
Yeah.
I think my deal breaker would be disrespect. That would be a deal breaker. Would you say?
I said we had the same one.
That's
Mother
because
and
you're
daughter.
my daughter. Yeah, disrespect. That's a deal breaker for me. Because that hurts. That can hurt.
So I think my deal breaker, I guess since I can't say physical, because, you know, like you say, that's number one. I think now today would be cheating. Because I'm at the age now, for real, y'all, come on now. I mean, you know, I think by now you should know what you want. Like you said, you're at the age, you know what you want. And yeah, I'm done. I'm done with cheating. I've experienced that before, so I guess I can't go through that again.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's I don't know. I have different attitudes about that. I mean, if I'm in, it depends on what relationship, kind of relationship I'm in. I don't, I don't know, people, I don't know. That's a tough one.
It's a touchy one, Miss Ebony. I'm sitting here watching.
Yeah.
It's touchy.
Yeah.
Cheating,
I mean,
brother.
People got different views on that. Like, I know people who will be like, depending on how long you were with that person, if there are infidelities. Now, for me, I'm going to be conflicted for a long time. I'm going to just out over a 20-year relationship and you done cheated on me. But at the same time, are you really willing to throw away that 20-year relationship? But also at the same time, it's like, well, he done cheated. Why do I got to make a determination, have to figure things out? He's already shown me that he's done it. So it's a sticky situation.
It is. I don't know.
I think we could do a whole nother podcast on just the topic of cheating.
Yeah, we could.
Was my answer, Miss Roxanne, cheating. And we're of a different age, but I feel the same way. At this point in my life, you don't need to be with me if you feel like you want to be with multiple women.
Right.
I don't need that. Like, I love men just as much as he may love women. But if I choose to be with you, I'm going to be with you. So, yeah, cheating. And Sunny, I heard what you said, like 20 years versus 2 years. I think I still would leave. And it would be, I'm not saying
Me
it would
too,
be
but
hard.
that would be the conflict with some people.
Yeah.
Like, I'm right along with you. Like,
20 years
I'll never
is a long time.
I'll never be able to trust you after that point.
I agree.
So for me, it's already done.
Right. And I think for me, if I stayed, I once heard this and I always think about it. Trust is like a glass. Once it breaks, you can glue it back together, but you still see the cracks. So as hard as I would work if I stayed with him, and even if he worked hard, it's just so easy to see the cracks. I don't want to be that person in a relationship where you told me you would be home at 5 and you're home at 6, and there was a traffic accident. But I still may think like, no.
Right.
I know you went home. I watched the news. I saw the traffic accident, but you could have went a different way. You could have never been in that traffic. I don't want to be that person in a relationship. So cheating is a deal.
I'm in agreement with that.
So, Rhonda, there are two things I want to tell you. Whatever that phrase you just said about the glass and the crack, somebody need to write that down. And I need
Yeah. Hey, you know what?
That was a good one.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I can't remember where I saw it, so I can't give credit to who probably said it
You can
first.
say unknown.
But it stuck with me. It has stuck with me.
That was a good one.
Our intimate
Yeah.
relationship. It has
Well, guess what? That's going to be one of our IG posts, and we'll put anonymous. Okay.
And the other thing I want to say is that, I agree, this is a whole nother podcast in itself, because I will tell you that I think I've always thought that if I have to worry about and question where you are and what you're doing, then one, there's something wrong with me, right? Because I've allowed somebody into my life to make me feel lesser than. And two, that I can't spend my life worrying about you. You can't stop someone from doing what they're going to do, right? And so putting all your energy into that, you're wasting your time. And so when we think about, cheating, I agree that everybody, there are many people who have been together 40, 50 years, and there's no way that they have not experienced some sort of infidelity on either end, right? Because being with one person forever, when you're going through your trials and tribulations in your relationship and in life, sometimes you find another person who better understands what you're going through. And then that natural emotional connection just forms and you don't even plan for it to form. And so I understand how things happen. And I think that, which is why it's so hard for that conflicting, Sonny, what you talked about, which is why it's so conflicting for people depending on the love you have for that person. I really think it depends on how much you love that person, what you all have been through, what you all have overcome, or the pain that person have caused you in the past, right? Or the joy that they've, given you in the past. So you have to weigh all of that stuff and say, okay, is it worth me ending and getting rid of all of this, or did they add so much value to my life that I'm not willing to give it up and we can work through it? Or, are you just constantly causing me pain and stress and I need to let you go?
So I'm so glad we're going to have a part 2 to this series. We're not going to answer this question right now, but I'll tell you something we will add to when we do part 2. What is cheating? Because if my partner has a friend who is in cyberspace, they live in a different continent, but my partner spends time on whatever it's, I guess it's not chat rooms anymore, but whatever. They're spending time together in cyberspace. Is that cheating? We're going to leave that as our cliffhanger because we will put that in our part 2. I'm going to say, Roxanne, it is, I'm looking at it's well over an hour. So let's go to, I'm very close to, we didn't start exactly on the hour. But let's go to, if we can skip down to number, let's do number 6. Let's do 6.
Can you
7.
Okay, because I had this. It's on my screen that disappeared, and can you just go ahead and read it, please? I'm sorry.
I sure can. Number 6 is if you had, or maybe presently have someone, a friend who is in an abusive relationship, would you share your thoughts with that person? And what do you think about the statement, it's none of my business, it's just, that's how they roll in their relationship, that's up to them. So whether we are talking about a male who is in a relationship, female, somebody in a same-sex relationship, doesn't matter, just period. If you have someone who is in a relationship you think is abusive, would you say something to your friend? How about we just let the daughters and Sonny, the niece, I like the niece, our niece, but we got our daughters and our niece answer that. We're going to do the first time.
For me, I'm definitely saying something. Because there goes that old saying, if it were me, I would want to know. And that's just the type of friend I am, period. If I see a friend being wrong, no matter what the situation is, I'm definitely going to speak on it. I'm going to give my concerns and my opinions, but I'm never going to tell a person what they should do or what I think that you should do. I'm going to give you my opinion. And what you do with that is what you do with that. But as a friend, if I call you my friend, a conversation will be had.
Okay. Thank you, Sonny.
So yeah, I would consider a friend. I have some friends to be direct with immediately, and they'll take it, they'll accept it or they won't. And then I have some friends that I might wait for them to bring it to me if they bring it to me. I'm not going to say, so I would handle it differently based on the friend, thinking about my friends and who they are.
That's true.
I'm not going to say anything ever, or I'm always going to say something. I think it would vary based on the friend. My friend would know I'm there to support them. I would make that clear, even if I didn't bring up why. They just know that I would be there to support them, whatever they decide. The entire time. I'm never going to leave my friend's side if I think they're being abused, whether we talk about it or whether it's just understood or just assumed. I'm still going to be there to support my friend throughout their relationship and after, or, you know, whatever it may be, because some people don't leave.
I agree, Rhonda. It depends on the type of friendship, that level of friendship. In either type of friendship, I'm definitely going to say something, but my approach is going to be my approach would kind of be the same, because I would be wanting to know if they're even aware that they're in a relationship that's abusive. So I would be asking, you know, little hidden questions about, well, how do you feel about that? Well, why, you know, do you think someone should be doing that? Would you know, I would just be asking like probing questions to get an idea. Are you even aware of the type of relationship that you're in? Because when someone isn't aware, they will argue you down, and a lot of times they're not going to take it, and they will leave whatever you said just right there on the table, because they're not aware of the situation or the current environment that they're in. And so having to kind of just ask them questions to bring some type of awareness to their situation without me saying it. And I say that because I've had to do that. I've tried it the other way, where I'm gonna just tell you and you leave it there, you take it or leave it, and then they left it right there, and then they got, you know, that relationship became extremely, extremely volatile. And years later, you know, my friendship ended. Years later, you know, we reflect back on that after they're well out of that relationship, and we reflect back on that. And I feel like, one, I probably could have, you know, I know that I could have approached that differently. To bring awareness for her, you know, help her become more aware of the situation she was in, instead of just being the take it or leave it person. But you know, we love our friends, right? And we're like, listen, this is what's happening. I just need to tell you like it is, and you need to get out of the relationship, or, you know. So I've learned my lesson. I've learned my lesson in how I say it, but I will always say something.
That's a very important question. Thank you, Cassie, Rhonda, and Sunny, for responding. Thank you so much. We're coming to our closing. If we could do another one-word answer, and then Roxanne, I know you have some things that you want to share with the audience as well. So before we do that, we want to close the conversation about relationships on an upbeat. So if you can think of one word, this is like we did the one-word deal breaker. This is the opposite. What is one word that is your favorite thing about being in a relationship? One word. I'll go first, because this is my one word: laughter.
Still my word.
Oh.
You can have it too.
Laughter. Yes, I told you I'm a child.
I am too, Sunny. Okay, so Sunny and I agree. Laughter is our one thing. It's our favorite thing about being in a relationship.
I would say today it would be snuggling. I wouldn't mind doing a little snuggling right now.
My word would be togetherness.
Oh, okay.
It may be not the number one thing, but definitely up there top of the list is good sex.
All right.
Mother! Close your ears, Cassie.
I love it.
Talk about straight talk.
Miss Ebony. You got the right idea, Miss Ebony.
That's called straight talk, y'all.
How you like that, Kesha?
That makes me feel uncomfortable. I feel violated.
Where you think it came from?
Oh my God.
Wait a minute. And I just have to say, I don't normally, I try not to correct people, but I have been howling all day because Sunny keeps calling Kessie Kesha.
I know.
It's been cracking me up.
I know.
After the third time, I'm like, I got to say something.
Correct her on live.
That's okay. Wait a minute. It's called straight talk. I think on that note, is that it? No, she's cool.
Cassie
didn't say.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She's going to call her mom and say, I agree with my mom.
I forgot.
My thing thing is actually dependability. I need to depend on you.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, did you say yours? Did you say Rhonda? Oh, yeah, you did.
Yeah. So we have laughter, snuggling, dependability, and good sense, y'all.
Hey.
And togetherness. I'm sorry, I wrote it down. And togetherness.
That sounds like a fun relationship all the way around to me.
There you
I
go.
agree.
Next is our standardness.
Yes!
There it is.
Our standardness. Perfect.
Yeah.
I think on that note, is it time for us to close, Rhonda? Oh, no, one more thing. Well, I hate to even bring it up now because we just had so much fun. I don't even think I should. I think we should end right here. Or should I?
Okay.
We can always put it on Instagram, and we can.
Yeah, I'll put it on Instagram because it's a little bit somber mention that I wanted to do, and we just had so much fun laughing just now. I think I'd like to end it right there, and I'll just say that our podcast. I don't even remember our closing. I'm so tickled right now, having so much fun. But you can see us every Thursday at 5 p.m. That's when we launch our podcast. You can also catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, Audible. We're on about 16 or 17 different platforms, maybe more than that, because like I said, we didn't even know we were on Audible. I don't even know how that happened. But anyway, and we're also on YouTube, where once you subscribe and start viewing our podcast, you will help us be able to start monetizing it. And I've been saying this is episode 9, and it's really hilarious. I think we're up to about, you need 1,000 likes and 4,000 views to start monetizing on YouTube. I think we might be up to about 20 views now. A couple of weeks we only had 2, so we're growing, y'all.
Yeah. When you said we're at 2, I said we're getting there. So now we're at 20.
Moving forward.
Then she said, let me call some family and friends, So, and I tell people, just put it on in the background while you're washing dishes and cooking or whatever, and, listening to us, and then subscribe and share. And we'll eventually be able to reach, because my personal mission is to help a minimum of 1 million women heal after being abused. So that not the monetization, but liking us and getting the views, hopefully, and sharing these important messages will help us get there. So you can reach us again on IG is Warheels _, YouTube is Warheels, and our website, everything is on the website, warheals.org, WAARHEALS.org. There's links to the podcast, there's links to YouTube, and all of that is on that station. So hopefully you'll continue to watch us and listen to us. And as you can see, we have fun, and we're going to continue to do so. And wait a minute, before we leave, me and Rhonda have to say something. We got your back. Now, normally if we was in person, our backs would be together, but we tried. Thank you, guys. We appreciate you so much. I enjoyed listening to my niece, my sister friends' daughters. And one other thing, too, real quick. Relationships, to me, as we all know, are not just about our romantic relationships. We have healthy relationships throughout our lives. And to me, the epitome of this relationship is on this screen right now. I love the relationship that these mothers and daughters have. I love the relationship that my niece and I have. And I stood in front of Mount Airy Baptist Church when my niece's daughter was 12 years old and said I was going to help mother that child. And I'm getting ready to mother her. I'm getting ready to mother her like I wasn't mothered. So tell Raina, my little miss, aunties, she better look out. Okay, on that note, guys.
Bye. Thank you, everybody.
Here are 2 things we would like you to do. Number 1, enter our monthly drawing by sending your email address to info@warheals.org. Spelled out, that is info@WARHEALS.org. Put drawing in the subject line. We will notify the winner or winners via email by midnight on the last Thursday of each month. Our second request, engage with us on IG. Follow, like, and subscribe to all of our social media platforms at WarHeals_ on IG, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. WAARHEALS_ on IG, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. As always, we thank you for listening and see you next week.